I think that for a couple that work together or perform together can't always be easy, but it looks like today's guests have it figured out. Welcome to Small Talk.
People come from all walks of life, they all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And I would like to welcome for the first time a married couple. I believe they're married. Anyway, if not, I'm marrying them right now. Lynn and Clayton Cheechoo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi.
You are married, right?
Yes, we are. But we are now anyway, even if we weren't before.
I didn't get that part wrong. I just want to ask about the last name. What is the origin of your last name?
Okay.
Well, I originate from James Bay in northern Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
and our last name has been changed, I guess. Back in our history, when our people started getting baptized.
Right.
So at that time, the church couldn't pronounce our original last name, so they just kind of came close to it, and put in Cheechoo. I think our last name was originally Cheechoo.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I have like kind of the same thing with my last name. It's like some of my family members have a D on the end of it and I don't.
Oh,
And we all, we're all from the same parents, right? So
yeah.
the church just does whatever they want to do sometimes. Anyway, so before I get into the fact that you are musicians together, I want to know when the two of you met and how you met.
Okay, well, I was performing. I'm from Toronto, actually, and I was performing with my group Siren with my twin sister. I think it was a Native Women's Resource Center, and he was also playing because he's a bass player. And I heard him play. I thought, wow, and we were looking for a bass player, so he kind of hooked up at that gig,
Mhm.
and from there it kind of evolved, and we started working together and recording on a regular basis at that point. Yeah.
Very
That was
good.
in 1990.
1991, actually. Was it 90?
No,
90?
90.
Okay. He
90.
remembers better memory.
Because I
there.
left here, my home community, go down to Toronto for a college program, music
Right.
program. So I've been playing music most of my life, heard it most of my life from my parents and and family. So I went down and pursued, I guess, thinking at that time, because maybe I could learn some music,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
reading and writing and stuff. So
And have you always been a bass player?
yes, I have. I play guitar as well, but mostly bass. So
Okay.
yeah.
So now I know that you've had some put out some videos together, right?
Yeah, we've been working on music videos a lot. When we came north, because we moved up to Clayton's home community of Moose Factory back in '94 in the winter,
Mhm.
we started to work on our own solo recording aside from what I had done with Siren, what we had done together. And we released a CD locally called Red Willow Bending.
Okay.
And those are the videos, except for a new one that we just finished working on. But all the songs were our videos. We made videos for those particular songs, and CD Baby distributed them. So it was nice. That gave us our own official YouTube channel, and
Yes.
yeah. So it's been fun. It's been a fun process. Yeah.
So
So
it's all been homegrown, basically. Yeah.
yeah.
When we started,
Yeah.
because for us where we're located, it's kind of hard to, which we done earlier on when we moved back up here. When I moved home, actually, it's logistics to go play live and stuff.
Right.
So the travel, it's like expensive
Yes.
Yeah.
for us. So we kind of decided. Plus, going to a studio, like say in Toronto or something, or somewhere in the south, which cost a lot of money.
So what we
basically.
actually did was create our own studio here. So we have our
Yeah.
own recording equipment, video equipment. So it's fun,
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I'm just thinking about the song Red Willow Bending. What was the meaning behind that song?
Okay, yeah, that has a couple of different layers to it. Red willow, well, the red willow is very much in this area. It grows in this area. It never changes its color. It bends, but it never breaks. So I use that as a metaphor for the song, thinking of myself in that respect, that, coming from a different culture and learning to acclimatize myself and not really change myself, but become more flexible in my thinking and more accepting. So, it was a process. So red willow bending acted as like a metaphor for what I was experiencing.
Plus, it's a medicinal, like for us
Mm.
up here. It's like a anti-detoxin.
Okay.
So we boil it and stuff, and we drink. You know, we drink it as we need it. We want to detoxify our bodies, basically. That red willow.
And
So
it's
that's
quite
what.
beautiful in the wintertime because everything is pure white,
Yes.
and you see this beautiful red willow bush and it's always in bloom.
Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
cherries are on it yet,
yeah,
all
yeah.
through the winter. So
Yes.
So yeah. So
so
that was like, yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's really good. Now, Lynn, you were an award-winning vocalist, right? And composer.
Yeah.
And you received, what is it called? The Best New Vocalist and Top Reggae Duo?
Yeah, with my sister, we were the siren duo at the time. Yeah, we nominated. We won a Caspi Award. We won a reggae music award, tell you, for best video,
Right.
and of course Juno nomination, which was really quite good.
Very nice. Yeah, for
That was,
sure.
that was actually in 1985. So that's like
Well,
a
it's
while
still out there.
back.
Listen,
But still,
still out there. Yeah.
yeah.
Now what happened here? And I wanted just to read, I'm just reading off of what you sent.
Oh yeah, sure.
I did read it, but I don't remember things so much anymore. But with the assistance of the Canada Council for the Arts, you produced, was it Seichiman?
Man, yeah.
Seichiman. So that's a James Bay fiddle music, is it?
Yes, it's actually my father-in-law, his dad, who I call dad. He's a very well-known fiddle player in these regions, and he approached us to produce his recording because he'd been wanting to do this. Now, these songs are like during the days of the fur trade, like they go back.
Okay.
When the Sheshimen, or the big boats, that's what it means, came over with the Hudson Bay Company, they brought their fiddlers and they brought these songs with them. And James's dad, Noah, he learned these songs, so it's been passed along to James, and he wanted to record them. And in a sense, they're very historical. They were never recorded. And there's a whole history to the dances and the way that they were brought into the culture. And it's very interesting how it evolved, So I was really interested in doing it. I thought it was great. I'm sure,
because at that time too, back in that period, uh, you know, uh, they didn't really know, like our people, my grandfather and on, like a lot of the old fiddle players
Mhm.
back in history when the Hudson Bay came in through James Hudson Bay, from England or wherever into James Bay. That's what my dad explained. Seichiman was, they call it in our language. Seichiman was the big boat, three-masted ship that came in
Okay.
back in those, in the early days.
Right.
And they anchored off an island here in James Bay, and that's where a lot of our people, my grandfather and that, got work loading these big ships, with the York boats, they call them, these boats that come into the trading post
Mhm.
along our bay up in the Hudson Bay, James Bay area,
Right.
and they sail back out there. But this is where my dad, my grandfather at that time back in the
Early
early 1900s, he heard this music too, but he didn't really know the language.
Yeah.
So they gave them Cree names, like from
the songs
the songs themselves and the dances as well. Our people, the ladies and we call them step dances, really, but they created their own dances
Yeah.
along with these tunes that were roughly like 300 years old or something, or I mean, there's a whole history of it here in James Bay of, you know, our native fiddlers, like my dad, my grandfathers, my uncles, on both sides,
Mm,
Yeah,
heard this music and learned to play it by ear.
so,
that
And
is
so
so
my
awesome.
dad too went to Orkneys. They did a documentary, I think, on him.
yeah, they did a
Where,
lot of performing up
yeah,
there. Ever
yeah,
since they released the CD, they were invited. So then they got invited
yeah.
to the
They
United States,
in the
and
United States, out
so it
east, Newfoundland
worked quite well for them.
area.
But you know what's interesting too? It's like I found out. Well, I'm adopted, but I found out later I have Scottish heritage, as
Okay.
well as a number of other things.
Yeah, yeah. Most of us are
And I,
mixed. Yeah.
yes, exactly. But the thing about it is I learned more about my Scottish heritage since I've been here. It's an
Ah,
interesting dichotomy, but that's
right.
yeah.
That is
And
so
I still don't know
fascinating.
how to step dance. I try, but I watch everybody else. They're doing such a great job.
That's
That's my
nice. Yeah.
go-to.
Because a lot of the Hudson Bay back in the fur trade days, right, 1600s or whatever, they came into James Bay around 16 something and started setting up these trading posts.
Right.
And so who they hired were people from the Orkneys, Scotland area that were already acclimatized already from where they live out in, you know, in Europe or wherever. So a lot of Hudson Bay hired these Orkney people and Scottish people, you know,
Yeah.
so a lot of them were here and
Hmm.
stayed here basically.
Right.
But,
Wow. I would
um,
love to go and visit. If it wasn't for COVID, I would
Yeah,
invite
I
my.
know. I would love to myself. Yeah.
It just sounds so fantastic
yeah.
to learn some of the history, you know.
Oh, to come here. I was thinking you were talking about Scotland. Yeah, definitely come. You're invited. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for COVID, I would say yes, I'm
Oh,
coming,
yeah. I
because
would
I
love it.
love the idea of talking to people rather than reading what has been put in history books,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
because we're getting a totally different slant. So I prefer to talk to people who actually lived or have parents or grandparents who lived the history, right?
Right.
It's a totally
Exactly.
different thing. Now,
Yeah.
just changing the topic, getting back to the two of you as a couple performing, what style of music do you perform
I've always
nowadays?
found it, yeah, difficult to really, nail it down to one particular genre. I mean, it's light rock, but we're leaning towards more like not traditional jazz, but the chordal structures. There's a lot of lyrical poetry, so it comes down to singer-songwriter. But yeah, and my son is a guitar player, so he has more of a heavy metal background, so he kind of brings that element, and so it's sort of
Oh,
like
nice.
a lot of different elements, but the song is really the essential part in the lyrical.
Very good. Yeah, it's kind of eclectic, right? Which is
Yeah.
really great. I'm just wondering too, and like as a couple, not only, you know, being together, like being married together, but also performing together, it must hold some challenges, does it?
Well, yeah. I guess in some ways it holds challenges, not so much when we're in the South, because people are really interested in the fact that, you have these two people who came together and they form this union and they also create music. But up here, it's, a lot of indigenous people, they want us to promote indigenous music, which is
Yeah.
perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the anomaly, I suppose you'd say. So, it's not like we didn't get to perform, but a little less perhaps if I had been indigenous, it would have probably been promoted a little bit more in these regions here, which, I mean, I understand it.
Yeah,
That's
it is hard to make it all work, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. There's always going to be a few obstacle and
you know,
challenges along the way.
I mean, the way I look at it too, we're creative people
Mhm.
separately, and then together we're putting something together every time
Mm,
we work on some music or something. Like music is just mostly, I grew up hearing it, but it's creative to me. So not only that, like, I've carved as well. So for me
for
personally, I
example.
feel like I'm a creative person. So it just naturally, whatever, say Lynn's working on a song or something, chords or lyrics or something. And then when she's ready to maybe put it down or work on it together, then we're working it together,
Yeah,
you know, uh,
he's gotten quite good at behind the board.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think because he's an artist, so he has that visual aspect to what he does. So You know, the videography is another thing that we've been exploring, and he's been actually quite good at
I mean,
too.
it's quite the learning
So,
curve,
yeah,
right?
I mean, we were
have,
learning as we go, but it's, you know, it's a fun process, you know. It's
like
fun.
buying
Yeah.
software, upgrading. I mean, it's all home learned basically.
Yeah.
Homeschooling, if you want to call it, right from recording. I mean, we got a, you know, a fairly decent setup,
Yeah.
software and stuff, recording, and then we got into video, which was just, you know, from
Yeah,
those
and our
videos you've seen
videos,
now, like
they're,
people, yeah.
you can see them all actually on YouTube, and we're just finishing a song now. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it in there on in February.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay, great. That'd be great. Yeah. So I'll make sure, do you have a website or is it just like, or
well, we have that website, but the YouTube, yeah,
channel
just
would be the
you know,
best?
if you go on YouTube and you just you know, link in Lynn Clayton Cheechoo, it'll pop up, and you'll be able to go on there.
Okay, I'll make sure that that's
You'll be
included.
able to, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure that it's included in the, you know, when I
Great,
render
yeah.
this afterwards, right? Yeah, I'll just also that, you know, just being a little bit of creating a little bit of a problem here. I just want to know who's boss here.
Probably me. I feel like
Is that what
I
you
don't
feel,
know, I think-
Clayton? Is she boss? Is she the boss?
yeah, you know, like
Well, the thing is, I turned the dials, right? And so.
but I'll tell him if it's right. But,
Just, you
yeah.
know, just trying to be a little bit of a troublemaker, but not too much.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's
Oh gosh, that's so fun. So now tell me about Higher Love. Is that the one that you got the Juno nomination?
yeah, that was the single off the LP called The One, which I
Oh,
did with my
okay.
sister, and it was partially recorded in Jamaica. So
Oh,
we used some very like Peter Tosh's musicians and some really well-known reggae musicians. Plus, we had Jamaican musicians in Toronto because there was a big scene happening there in the '80s after Bob that just emerged.
right.
Yeah, so that was the one, and I think it was because we kept it authentic, even though it was a progressive reggae. We kept it authentic in terms of just working with the musicians who actually created the reggae.
Right.
You know.
Now you mentioned you have a new song coming up in February, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And can you tell me anything about it?
It's called This Place of Love. It's actually it's one of, I wouldn't call it a happy song, but it has a happy ending. It's a little bit autobiographical. Like when my daughter was going to college down south, I had to leave here for a while and be with her. So at the time I was feeling that loneliness and being separated from Clayton and the community. And so it's kind of based on that journey and coming back home to this place of love. So
Very good. Yeah, that sounds really lovely. Sounds nice. And are you going to do a video with that?
yes, as soon as it's done, we're going to immediately do that, and it'll hopefully by the end of February it'll all be there on
That's
the
good.
channel.
Yeah, that's good for sure. You know, I was just thinking about like when I invited myself up there. It was very,
Yeah.
very nervy of me. It would be so much fun to do a whole other interview, you know, in person,
Oh yeah,
right? Because you get this whole different vibe, you know, it's also wonderful, I think.
that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done in-persons for a while, you know, and now with the new Omnicron or whatever it's called, it's
Yeah. It's got Omen there. I don't know why. I
Pardon?
think you have to meditate in order to deal with it. That's why Omen is there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And you know, because of my age, I have to apparently have to be more careful. You know, the older we get, apparently we're more susceptible to whatever. But it doesn't matter because I just, again, I love people. I love hearing their stories, you know, and again, I love the artistry and the fact, Clayton, I would love at some point to see, because Lynn mentioned that you're also an artist, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see some of your work. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that would be nice, whether we do it this through Zoom or again, who knows when things are going to be open to traveling again. I don't know. I wouldn't want to bring anything to your community that you don't already have there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, that's the
Don't
thing.
worry.
What we've kind of realized, I guess, sometime, a little while back was, there's another platform that we can, instead of going out playing live, like
Yeah.
how Lynn grew up playing,
Yeah.
I did it too, YouTube.
Yeah.
So instead of just
Great venue.
putting a song, recording a song and putting it out there, maybe put a video, because we did initially have just one picture, like a still.
Yeah, that's how CD Baby puts it out. They just do
Yeah.
a still, and then that's what they did initially. And we thought we
Yeah.
can do better than this. Let's just
Maybe we
start
could
creating
buy some
something,
equipment so we can maybe work on some video,
And that's
and
what we
we'll
did.
put the video to the music. So we started kind of looking into it, and finally we set it up, started working on it, there was some help here locally,
Mhm.
some friends and stuff kind of help us move it along. So after we got into it, I guess, me and Lynn, kind of figured out some things, how to work the video and stuff, how to put it together. So now I think this platform is just, for us, it's convenient.
It works well
It
too,
works.
because the way
Yeah.
that the industry is right now, it's very
Yeah.
difficult to really make.
Yeah, I hear that from so many people,
So,
right? No matter
you know.
if you're a performer of any kind, and
Yeah.
doing it live is different thing, of course, but you can
Yeah.
reach so many people from all over the place on YouTube, or like do same thing, doing this, doing a Zoom interview. I wouldn't have been able to do this at one point, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Opens different worlds for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So
been
for us,
Yeah.
it works. It
Yeah.
works for us because we have family or grandkids, and
And
family.
we involve them in our videos.
So we did involve them.
They're in the video, and they really love to. They keep watching
Some
it,
of the
and,
videos,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
When I
it's-
finish this, I'm going to share some. I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to share. Look for your videos, and I'm going to share some of those so people can see them. And this will air today too. So
Okay, great. Is
Okay.
there a link that we could share on our?
I will do that. Yeah. Anyway, in the
Okay.
meantime, I just want to thank you both very much for being on the show, and I want to just thank the audience for watching. And I hope you will look at the videos. I'm going to share Lynn and Clayton's videos, and hopefully.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.